What's up, everybody? Coach Logan here, and we're talking about shoes. All right, welcome back. We're here once again to talk about shoes. We got a lot of views, a lot of questions on the last video, so we figured we'd do a round two. You know, we got a different lineup here, some similar to old ones, some completely new. So we're gonna go through the same criteria as last time, plus a couple other ones. I think it was what? Grip, cushion, flexibility, durability is gonna be a new one, comfort's gonna be a new one, slash fit. I guess those are kind of the same thing. So yeah, it's gonna be more of the same, but with some new items. Speaking of the new items, here they are. Quick little rundown of what we got for a lineup today. Got some more Vans, similar to the last ones, sort of like the 2.0 version. New pair of Strikes that they came out with a couple months ago. Two more pairs of Vans. These are more on like the skate shoe line of things. Some Reeboks. These are kind of diamonds in the rough. They're gonna be hard to find, but we'll talk about them. And then these bad boys is our first kind of like Parkour brand shoe that we'll be going over. They're the OLLOs. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the Reebok Nylon Classics. These I picked up a couple months ago. This is what I've been training in lately. I know last video I went over the Adidas 3MC quite heavily, and that was like my go-to, my favorite. This time I tried some with a little more cushion, some with a little more structure, just to kind of give it a go, see if I ended up liking it or not. Happy to say, they're awesome, okay? Grip category, I'd give them like 8 or 9 out of 10. Good rubber, breaks in fast. One big piece. It's got a little bit of the nubs going on, but they wear down, and once they do, it's a lot better. Comfort, because you guys were asking about comfort. I really like these shoes. They are way more comfortable than the 3MCs or any other shoe that I've trained in, to be honest. They just fit my foot right, and they got a decent amount of cushion. Not too much in the front, so you can really still feel stuff. Like I like them on rails and things because I can still feel the rails. So the cushion's not bad. Flexibility, they're really flexible, more so in the front half than like this heel, but I mean, your heel doesn't need to be super flexible, so it's not a big deal. Durability, pretty good so far. They're holding up. I haven't had any pieces of rubber rip off, no fabric tearing through, so we're good on that front. Heel rise, this is one where it's a little bit different. I think last time we talked about heel rise being like, most people aim for like a less of a heel rise, a more minimal shoe, like a skate shoe, but some people train in that higher heel rise. This one has a little bit of heel rise, hasn't bothered me any. I kind of like it, to be honest, but yeah, Reebok Nylon Classics, a little bit hard to find these days. I did pick these up on Amazon twice now for like 40 or 50 bucks, but you got to do some digging for that one. So yeah, if you're looking for sort of a very popular in the whole parkour world as a whole, good trainer, good grip, lightweight too, I should mention that. They don't look it, but they are like way lighter than these. Super lightweight. Yeah, if you're looking for a good pair of shoes, I'd recommend these. All right, so I kind of alluded to it earlier, but it's not just me today. We got other coaches coming in here to talk about the rest of these shoes. So Coach Jordan's gonna come in next. He's gonna talk about these Vans slides and these brand new fancy dancy strike shoes.
Hey, this is Coach Jordan. I'm here to talk about a couple of the shoes that I've been wearing as of late. So I got two different pairs that I've been sessioning in. I'm gonna start with the Strikes. So these are the Strike Hazes. I've been training in them, Coach Daniel has been training in them, a couple other people we've seen around the gym have been getting them. These are one of Strike's first shoes that was contributed to by a parkour athlete. So Daryl Stingley, known as Wavezilla, contributed to the design and I think a lot of the like philosophies in the actual structure of the shoe with making these. They got the distinctive red bottoms and they made quite a few upgrades that I think are really good for parkour specific. So I've been training in Strike shoes for quite some time. These are the Chill Pill Transits. I've rocked, I think this is my third pair of these. I'm saving these ones for my outdoor season coming up. I moved to these ones very recently. I've only done indoor training in them. There's a couple changes they made going to these that I think really helped with parkour. So right off the bat, they both have the rubber bottoms all the way down it, so really, really good grip. But they extended the rubber all the way up over the toe, which I love. These ones I've barely trained in, and I've already had to glue the rubber back down here. So having it go all the way up over the toe, I think is a really, really big improvement. These shoes come in at 160 bucks, so they're a little bit on the pricier end, but I really like supporting a company that takes the time to actually support parkour athletes, so I thought it was a really good investment. One other thing I really like about Strikes is they tend to have really flat bottoms and not a whole lot of heel lift. I'm a very flat-footed person, so I find flat bottom shoes are much nicer to train in. That's one of the reasons why I also love training in the Vans. Vans come in at 60 bucks, so like half the price of that one. You can spend a lot less and get a lot more out of them. Some people find these quite heavy. I don't think they're too heavy though. I think they're nice and slimmed down. They don't feel very bulky, don't feel like a whole lot of space on there. You can get them with more cushion in. I prefer not to because I really like a parkour shoe that I can feel the ground and edges below me in. So this is one that accomplishes that. That being said, I trained in them for about 6 months. This is my new pair, this is my old pair. As you can see, the grip is kind of gone. So not as useful, definitely went through them pretty fast, but that's training pretty regularly in them. Like I said, I got 6 months in them. I did indoor and outdoor training in them, and they held up pretty good up until they didn't. So as I mentioned before, I have pretty flat feet. So one thing with fit between these two shoes is I noticed this one fits quite a bit better. These ones after a while did stretch out kind of width-wise, so the whole toe box got a little bit bigger, whereas these ones stayed pretty tight all the way around. So I find if I'm looking for like more techie stuff, like it feels tighter to my foot on these. Fit is something that I think is really, really important. No matter what shoe you get, if you get a shoe that doesn't fit right, it's not gonna do you any good. Particularly, I know with like kids, if you get a shoe that's slightly too big because you're gonna grow into them, as soon as you go for any type of cat or tack or wall tech, that shoe's gonna blow right off your foot. So those are the two shoes I've been training in. We kind of got one premium parkour specific option and then one more like budget friendly multi-purpose option. I really like both. I still train in both regularly and swap back and forth kind of on a whim with no rhyme or reason. I don't think one is better than the other for any particular thing. That's just personal preference and comfort for what I'm feeling that day. But highly recommend both of these shoes. Good luck training in them, good luck finding them. Next up, I think Coach Tyler is gonna come in, talk about the new OLLOs he's been rocking, as well as I think some Vans. A little bit more tidbits coming from him.
Hey, Coach Tyler here, and I'm here to talk about 3 different shoes, starting with these Olo Alphas. These ones are unique because these are specifically made for parkour. Now, Olo is a brand that's actually been around for a while. This is just a new model that they just put out. To be honest, I wasn't a big fan of the old ones. I find that they didn't fit me very well, and I didn't think they were super durable either, at least from what I heard from other athletes. However, I am really impressed with these ones, and I was really excited to try them out. When I first saw these online, I thought they would actually be a bit of a carbon copy of the Vans Ultrarange. From a distance, they kind of look similar, but once I tried them on, I realized they were actually quite different. The Ultrarange is really cushy and soft. These actually have a really rigid platform, more similar to a strike movement. It feels really solid when you hit precisions, and it kind of gives you a pretty confident step when you land on something. So as far as grip goes, they are actually pretty solid all around. I find that on most surfaces, at least in the gym here, they stick pretty well, almost comparable to a strike movement shoe. However, they do gather dust pretty fast, so I find I have to rub the bottom off very frequently to retain that grip, especially when it comes to bars and rails. As soon as I pulled these out of the box, they had a bit of a grease or something on them. I'm not too sure what it was. Most shoes do have them when they come out of the box, but it took forever for me to rub it off and actually like get confidence with gripping on a rail. And even now, after training in these for a couple months, they still slide a little bit on rails. I don't know if that'll get better in time, but I guess I'll find out the more I use them. That said, every other surface is pretty solid. Precisions on these feel really satisfying. There's a nice chunk when you land, that feeling of that solid thud. These are really good for that. As far as cushion goes, these are actually a little less cushioned than I thought, which is a plus in my books. I thought they would be quite squishy, like I said, like the Ultrarange over here, but they're actually really solid. I'm used to training in strike movement shoes, and these have a little more cushion than that. So I've actually been using these more for flip-related training, more free-running related stuff, as opposed to tech-related stuff like precisions and climb-ups, things like that. Flexibility-wise, these are pretty solid. The toe box moves really easily. However, the mid part of the shoe is a little rigid. Again, that might be something that gets better over time as the shoes break in more and more. Fit-wise, these are pretty solid. Again, I was surprised. I just assumed they would fit like an Ultrarange when they actually fit more similarly to the Strike Chill Pill. Narrow in the middle with a wide toe box, which fits my foot perfectly. Results may vary, but it works for me. Durability, so far, it's hard to tell because these are still fairly new. I've only been training them for a couple of months. So far though, I haven't noticed any threads popping out. I haven't noticed any of the rubber really degrading fast. Again, time will tell on these. I plan on taking these outside once the snow melts so I can really put them in their paces and then report back later. Price-wise, these run at about 120 Canadian, which puts it sort of in that premium tier of shoes. Not the most money I've ever spent on a pair of parkour shoes, but you might not want to spend that much. So I do have some budget-friendly options for you to go over. For the budget-friendly option, I've got these Vans Era skate shoes. This is just a basic canvas skate shoe from Vans. Similar price to the slip-ons here, about $60 Canadian, and you can get them pretty much anywhere. Skate shops, sports shops, wherever. These shoes are widely available. They also come in a bunch of different colors as well. Now these don't have any special cushioning or anything. They're just a basic canvas top, rubber on the bottom. That said, you can feel pretty much everything you land on, and they're very flexible. They bend around themselves. With that price point though, you lose durability. These lasted maybe 2 months for me before the top completely ripped and the insides are shredded. But mileage may vary. I trained in these pretty hard over the summer, and I got about 8 solid weeks of training in before they started to fall apart, which felt good enough for me. I wasn't really upset about it. Vans does offer a lot of other types of cushioning in their shoes, so if you wanted something with a little more padding in these, you could move on to the Vans Ultrarange. So in the last video, Logan talked about the Ultrarange. This is a newer version of that shoe that has a bit more rubber on it. Major difference is the original one was pure mesh on top, so they could fall apart pretty easy depending on your training style. These ones have a more reinforced top with rubber on the toe box so that they won't rip open as much. That was the spot that ripped open the most on the old ones. The other big difference is that there's more rubber on the bottom now. So instead of just being sectioned with rubber, there's rubber along the whole bottom with spaces of foam in between. I don't really see that as an issue with the foam because the rubber prevents the foam from even making contact with the wall. So grip is actually pretty solid across the board. Cushion-wise, these are very squishy, almost to a fault. I find that if I'm doing something techie, rail precision, strides, that kind of thing, I find it hard to feel what I'm actually landing on because my foot will move around on top of the shoe a bit. Some people like that. Some people like that extra cushioning. I like it when I'm doing maybe heavy drops or a little bit more free running based training, flips and stuff. But in general, I don't consider this to be like my go-to all-purpose parkour shoe. If I'm gonna be coaching a long day and I know I just need something soft to wear, I'll probably bust these out. Flexibility-wise, just like the other Vans, they're quite flexible. Bit more rigidity in the middle, but overall, pretty flexible. Okay, so you now have a few new shoes to choose from if you're in the market. Not one of these shoes is better than the other. It all comes down to preference. You might like extra cushion. You might like extra flexibility. Price point might be an issue for you. That's something you're just gonna have to figure out until you find the right shoe for you. We really appreciate the support we got on the last shoe video. I think it's sitting at about 20,000 views right now, which so far is our most popular video ever. So thank you for that. We got lots of comments and messages on that last one too about other shoes we should try to review. Specifically, a lot of people asking about the other parkour specific shoes, like the Farang shoe, Soarer shoe, or the Tempest LaFleur shoe. We're more than happy to review those shoes. However, they are really hard to get with those brands being so small. They don't make a lot of them and they're just hard to get at this point. So we don't have any to review for you. If you have any and you want us to review them, send them to us. We'll be more than happy to do that. Or if you already have your own review, definitely let us know and we can relay that information in another video. We're hoping this video takes off like the last one. So please share, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're working on a bunch of videos behind the scenes. We're hoping to get a couple a month going for the future. And yeah, let us know what you want to see in the future. Thanks. So we have a bit of a tradition at the gym here where if you get your shoes completely thrashed doing parkour like these Vans here, you get to throw them up into the shoe graveyard, which is right above me here. So I got my laces tied together. I'm gonna try to get it up there in one swing. We'll see what happens. There we go. Rip. That's good. I think those are attached to another pair.